All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome, Josh. We missed you.
Hello.
Kind of.
Kind of, yeah. It was a
Can't
good
let him get
podcast.
a can't let him get a big head.
You already got a big enough
Or
head
it's
already.
already big enough.
I have a giant head. Would.
Goes well with all his other giant amenities.
Whoa.
Yes, it does.
So Josh is probably very excited to be back for this week because there's all sorts of topics that he's gonna enjoy oogling over. Specifically, the new Hogwarts Legacy gameplay that was shown in Sony's State of Play video stream thing. It was a beefy video of just a great overview of what this game is to hopefully hold later this year. Raise your hand if you watched it.
Me.
It's not raising your hand, dude.
You got
Yeah,
it.
I did
I
both.
saw some of it.
I raised my hand. I just want to point that out.
Perfect. Carson, what'd you think? How would you rate this game reveal?
Very interesting. On a scale out of 1 to 5 guys, I'd give it a 4.3 guys.
Okay.
I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. This has been known before. Up until a month ago, 2 months ago, I'd never even seen a full movie. Now I've seen two. I've seen the first two, but it's really interesting. I'm not sure if it's necessarily going to pull me into buying the game, simply because I don't know how much true interest I have. But the game looks fun. I mean, it looks really in depth. It looks very cool, especially for somebody who does really enjoy the Harry Potter universe and has read the books, watched the movies, whatever. So big Harry Potter fans, I think this was going to be a great game. I think the combat looks really cool. It looks fluid. Obviously, the graphics look good. But yeah, it looks really cool. I definitely am gonna watch this.
Yeah, that's enough from you, Mr. Non Harry Potter.
But yeah,
fan.
I was gonna say
Casual
we should
Harry
probably
Potter
switch it to
gamer.
somebody. Should probably switch it to somebody
So,
who actually is
yeah.
invested in it.
Yeah, Carson's only like as he said, not sold on it yet. Josh, what did this gameplay reveal trailer do for you in regards to
Oh,
your desire to purchase this game?
I'm really excited, and I think probably one of the things I'm most excited for is just to explore and like find all like the hidden stuff and like for the, like and like find like the lore. I love the lore. Even though the combat looks really fun too, but I'm just like really excited to like have like an open world Harry Potter game where you can just go explore and there's like all these like different things that you can do and find. I think that's like what I'm really excited for. Like,
Yeah, that's what I told Carly. My wife and I are both huge Harry Potter nerds. Like we went to Universal specifically for Harry Potter World for our honeymoon, and it like that was honestly enough to sell me on it. Is just like how ambitious this game is, not only in regards to giving you a pretty fluid experience like in Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, but then also the surrounding environments around it, like Hogsmeade and it's like all sorts of landscapes and hills around the place. And to
yeah, it looks
like,
like
go ahead.
you'll be able to like go to actual like different places for like following the story. I saw the story was like the
Mm-hmm.
goblins and that's like the main villain. And it looks like you like go to different places that like completely new places probably that
Yeah.
the goblins are involved with.
Yeah, I was very surprised. Like when they originally announced this, I was like, "Oh, this has potential." And then they like released a few more things about like you being a student and everything. And I was like, this could be okay, but it could kind of get very weird and off the beaten path too much." And I thought to myself, like, it would be nice if they had like a really compelling story. And like, I don't know how they're gonna make the actual like fighting gameplay good, but like, I felt like at least in that trailer, I know you're kind of. It sounds like you're a little weary on it currently, Josh, but I'm with Carson. Like I thought the like actual spell battling looked really good, and they have like a really. It seems like a pretty in depth behind the scenes story for you to follow throughout the game as well. So like it just seems like they're adding so many features to this.
Yeah.
And to kind of jump back in as the casual, one thing that I think is cool about this and interesting for other games in this genre. I know this used to be a more popular genre, being like games based off of movies. It used to be a bit more popular.
Hmm.
And I was reading something actually. I believe it might have been a Barstool article. Like they have a game review kind of blogger on there, and he was talking about this potentially sparking the return of those kind of games. Because it was what was really interesting to me reading through this article um, was how it's taking place completely outside of
Hmm.
the time period of Harry Potter. So you're not stuck in that. Hey, I want to do like I want this to be like the books and the movies. Like, where's this? Where's that? Well, it's completely in a different time period, which I think is really cool and a good feature because it doesn't limit the creators
Right.
to try to stick to some kind of script, right? And like you were talking about how they're going to create some kind of interesting, compelling story. I think that's going to be an interesting aspect to look at, especially from someone outside of the Harry Potter world, because I don't have to know the books or the movies to
Hmm.
enjoy this game.
Yeah,
Um,
I think they are doing it very right with like kind of the resurgence of like almost movie licensed games, but not necessarily having it like
Follow the story.
enrooted to the original storyline and everything. And I just feel I've always thought this like with even not only just like Harry Potter but superhero movies is that like a lot of those stories I think would hold up better if they were a little bit more shifted back in the past. Like I think this is like taking place in the late 1800s, which it just
Correct.
that feels like a perfect time like in the real world for this kind of story. And I think the creators are doing a really good job of like trying to appease not only um like a interesting story for like you are Carson, like a casual fan, but then also like the hardcore fans like Josh and I, where you are going to be playing as a fifth year who is new to Hogwarts, which is it's very weird. Like you usually go right into Hogwarts your first year, like 11, 12-year old range. And so it was interesting that they like are bringing you in almost like a year off from being like, or maybe a couple years off of being an adult. But I think it's going to really help justify like why you can do so many of these more combative magical spells. So I just like all from that, like it really feels like they are trying to cater towards all the potential players of this game. Josh, any specific mechanics that you like? I know you're pretty excited for just like exploring, but any of like the mechanics and features from the reveal trailer that you were like, oh man, that looks super exciting.
Um, I don't really know any like specific mechanics, but like the spells like and like the way the combat looks on here looks really cool. And I'm just wondering how the controls would actually work. That's like
Hmm.
my biggest thing. Like I don't know, like would I have to play it with a controller on PC, or could I play with keyboard and mouse or what? But I think that the like casting spells and like that whole system does look really cool. But I am like suspicious about how it will be
That
on
was
launch.
that was something very interesting. Like with I guess the trailer, I didn't even think about like how it would work on keyboard, but like the whole like what is this going to be on? So it was announced in Sony's State of Play live stream. So naturally, like Carly and I watched it and we go, "Oh, is it gonna be on PC? Like, is there gonna be a way for us to play it?" And so, like, they show like I think in the trailer, like it's coming out for PlayStation 5, the Xbox, whatever that is now, what Series X or something like that, and then
Yep.
PC. But then, like I think a day later, they've also made an announcement that it is as well coming to Switch, which just seems ludicrous to me.
Oh no, I don't like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I don't know about that one. I didn't know that either. I I'm
So
interested. I'm
suspicious.
interested to see how that is. I have a feeling you feel the same way, and you're not going to buy the game on the Switch. But
Oh no.
if you were considering that, I'd say approach with caution. Is
Absolutely not. I mean,
It,
there's been a lot of speculation as to how they're going to have it on Switch because there are certain game developers that have put their game on Switch that is like it's almost like a cloud stream, kind of like what a Google Stadia would offer or like the Steam Link. and how they're able to like stream games to TV. So because man, they would have to do so much scaling down for it to even possibly function on Switch, which is like what I liked about that trailer is that I think it was legit gameplay because like there was some stuttering. Like if you watch him
Oh
flying on
yeah,
the
yeah.
broom, it was choking a little bit. I was like, well, I'm glad that they're at least showing what seems to be kind of a realistic portrayal of this.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah, you could definitely tell at some points the frames were dropping, and it's like, okay, this might be a harder game to run, but I guess that's kind of to be expected from a game like this.
also the art style is really cool, and I think that allows some leeway when bringing it to Switch because it doesn't look like they're trying to make it some hyper realistic looking.
Right.
It looks good, but it's definitely still, you know, um, what am I looking for? Like not cartoonish, but
Mm-hmm.
it's animated.
It's
It's clearly
yeah.
animated. It's not that they're trying to make this game look like it's a movie. They've come in with I think a very beautiful looking art style. I think it looks great, and it allows enough realism for those who like the realistic looking games. But I think it also has this cool, like hand drawn animated feel to it that you can definitely see where there's opportunity, especially for game going to the Switch. It's
Yeah.
not hyper realistic, which would be super hard to run on the Switch, but it looks still looks very good, and it allows on the Switch to hopefully dumb the graphics down a little bit and run it on lower graphic settings while still maintaining good frame rate and not destroying the integrity of the game.
Yeah, it's almost like they took like trying to get to the caliber of say like a Fallout or like a Rockstar game like Red Dead, where I feel like the environment it looks very polished, and then like the characters do kind of have like sometimes like a Grand Theft Auto look where it's maybe a little bit more animated, maybe even more animated than something like that. But yeah, it feels like it could still fit very well on something less intensive like a Switch. Yeah, I'm super excited to just go around Hogsmeade and see like how well is that comparable to like the Universal Studios portrayal of it.
Yeah, Universal, I feel like did an amazing job with Diagon Alley. I think that's probably one of their best things that they have there. Like with comparing it to the movies, it's actually kind of insane, like
Uh,
how realistic they kind of made it, like to the movie.
Have you been following what their plans are? I think for like the next like 5 or 10 years in regards to like expanding out their parks in Universal.
No, I haven't checked on it lately, but usually I do like to check on that.
That's like Carly's like bread and butter. She's like a super lore master when it comes to theme parks, but I think they are planning like a whole new park kind of like outside their general perimeter right now, and I think there's a lot of speculation that Ministry of Magic will eventually be coming in a
Oh
few
my
years.
gosh. I am excited for the Mario world and all that stuff and
Oh
uh
yeah.
the Nintendo like section. And I think with that they're gonna do like How to Train Your Dragon and a couple other things like that.
All sorts of goodies. Walker, you haven't been able to talk much with all of this. Where are you at with Harry Potter, and where's your excitement level with Hogwarts Legacy?
Uh, None. I don't care about it. I think the game looks good. I have no interest, and that doesn't change anything for me.
Okay. Well, how
You
about
Cause
gonna
we?
watch the movies?
Oh,
well, the way that I see this, no, I probably won't. The way that I see this is, from the little bit of gameplay, that it's gonna kind of be. I don't know. I don't. I think it's kind of the concept of like the battles is kind of cool, but at the same time, just like that's boring. You're just standing at a distance from people, and you're just clicking a button over and over, and then you click a different button to do a different thing, and it just doesn't entice me enough. That it's I think it's too repetitive, and it's going to feel bland and boring after a while. Because what I've seen is like every fight that I've seen in the gameplay trailer looks the same, and I don't really like. I don't know, just the same old game. It doesn't seem like it's anything new.
mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't have any interest in
No,
Harry
yeah, I can
Potter.
definitely see that.
The gameplay doesn't entice me enough to actually like want to do it because it looks kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
So with no interest in Harry Potter, it doesn't make me feel any way of wanting to play. It does look
Yeah.
nice. I think the game looks good, but
Yeah, you need a reason to explore it.
yeah, I mean, I have
Which,
no.
yeah, if you have no attachment whatsoever to the Wizarding world, then yeah, that becomes much more of a need for the gameplay to be solid. Which,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I agree. There seems to be kind of a staleness to it once you play it enough times. Well, how
I
about we
don't
move to
think you're.
something? How about we move to something different for you, Walker? How about Halo? Would you like to talk about more Halo and the Chevy Tahoe that has been found in the reveal trailer for this thing?
I mean, I honestly don't want to talk about it because I I'm a cynic and I don't think it's gonna be good.
Hey, that's what brings the listeners in. Let's talk about it then. Let's
And
let's.
What are you guys talking about?
Oh man,
the
so
Halo series and the Chevy Tahoe that is very clearly in the trailer.
but it's there. It's there for a reason.
It's there for a
They
reason.
say it is part of it all. They are not backing down. There is full reason, at least through this IGN article, why there is a GMT 800 Tahoe in the background while Master Chief is fighting
Elites.
yeah, some elites
That's
with
4
an energy
days,
sword.
bro. 4 days until I can shit on this thing.
Oh no.
Oh, wait, it comes out in 4 days.
Yeah.
Is it releasing
Paramount
weekly
Plus.
or is it?
It says premiere, so I think it's a weekly thing.
Yeah, it is. I
Yeah,
believe.
time to not get Paramount Plus.
But
Yeah,
the
so that
big-
means you'd have to wait like what? How many episodes are supposed to be in this thing?
probably.
Well, it's already been renewed for a second season.
That's
Yeah, but
right.
it's
But
probably
I'm
like
just
10
I'm ready to
episodes.
I want to get my free week subscription all lined up so I can just binge watch the hell out of this and
Yeah,
cancel it immediately.
But the reason there's a Chevy Tahoe is because they want to make it very clear that this is not the storyline that we. It's rooted in canon. However,
What does
it's
that mean?
not. It
I
means
need
it. Okay, it just means
don't
this
know
is
what that
very
means.
simple. Canon means what we know is fact,
right.
factual. Arbiter is canon, right? Arbiter and Arbiter and the elites helping Master Chief defeat the Flood or whatever in Halo 3 is canon, and the Flood then doing what. That's all canon. That's fact. That's true. That is 100%. Like Harry Potter, that stuff. Anything that happens in those movies is canon. But so what this means
Bless
is
you.
that it's a
Thank you.
different timeline or something like that, or like
They call it the newly formed
Yeah.
silver timeline,
taking
which
place in the timeline of the video. So it's not the video game timelines. It's newly formed silver timelines. So it's rooted in canon, which means there's stuff that we'll see that like we'll see and be like, yeah, I remember that and that makes sense. Whereas there's also going to be other things that they're going to include, and those other things like the Chevy Tahoe is not canon, because it's a separate timeline and it's not the true timeline. So
Essentially, it means it doesn't affect the main storyline.
it's
Yeah.
weird how they describe it. They say that it's just going to be coming at the rooted canon at a different perspective, which it's like, why would you say
So
perspective? It's more
we're
just
gonna
like
see
your own
Yeah.
like take on it.
But I think
really.
it's going to be like, you're just seeing a different version of how I guess things could have played out or play out.
like
I'm not a
like
fan of
Master
that,
Chief
though. Like
being
seeing his
having a
face.
British voice and seeing his face. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is,
and
this is
dude,
good. We're going back to our previous episode.
Even for changing up the timeline and like being like, yeah, guys, don't worry, this isn't canon. I'm like, there's still no need to get a voiceover, bro. What is wrong with you?
I mean, I guess at least we will not be like. I mean, I'm sure we'll still be pissed off because it's like, man, you could have made this so much
He
better looking.
sounds
But like, at
dumb.
least it's like not 343 going. Well, now we've shown his face and he's British. We might as well be now having to do that in the new games, so they can hopefully maybe scratch all of that and still keep the Chevy Tahoe in. We can drive Chevys all around.
Yeah, as I say, we need the Tahoe to come to Halo Infinite.
It's weird, yeah, just like their whole or like why they decided on that specific model. Polygon, that IGN references, says that was produced between 01 and 06, which is more than 500 years before Master Chief was even born.
Which means
So
that this takes place after
it's
2001.
2004 when Halo 2 was released.
Like, I don't understand. Like, because that means this literally takes place in what would be like our universe in it.
It's just weird, like how they've responded to it. I'm trying to find out who I'm assuming they're probably producers of the show who like responded to the speculation and the finding of this stuff in the trailer. But there's one, the director Otto Bathurst said, well, this is more just like talking still about the just like their decision making with the timeline and how it's gonna rustle some feathers, as they said. But they've said at one point, and I'm gonna probably paraphrase this, is that there is like a legitimate reason for like why that specific car is there. Like they didn't just willy-nilly decide on it and put it in the background. Like there's supposed to be some special reason or something like that.
Well, I think the reason is so we know that it's a separate timeline. I think he's just like fucking with them. But he also
They were like, "Oh shit, we showed that."
He also said that there's a lot. There's also, isn't there an AK as well?
Is there really?
Yeah, I think so.
Like a souped up 500
No,
year
it's
newer?
just an AK. It's just a regular AK because this is 2004 apparently.
No, what if it's like the Pokemon like Legends Arceus like whole gig where like Master Chief gets like transported like 500 years in the past and the Covenant is there too. So they're actually fighting literally in 2004.
Oh fuck.
Oh my gosh.
But Halsey's here. But Halsey's here.
Broke Walker's brain there.
But Halsey's here. This doesn't make sense. Halsey's here, and therefore, like, I don't. Okay, the one thing so they also said that there are a lot of Easter eggs in there, and they had fun putting them in. And he said, "I'm going to stick my neck on the line and challenge you to freeze frame and zoom in." And I guess people already did that with the Chevy Tahoe.
That was actually a planned Easter egg.
Well, I actually looked up Halo Chevy Tahoe, and then a thing came up on the images, and it was like a Chevy Tahoe Halo 3 mod thing where you could drive around a Chevy Tahoe.
Oh my god.
Nice.
What a great Easter egg. That's what we were all hoping for.
I'm expecting some red versus blue.
Actually, they just
Easter
made
eggs in
that.
this, bro.
Actually,
Yeah, I was saying, I'm pretty sure that was because of that.
In response to the trailer, someone made a mod that you can now drive a Chevy Tahoe around. That's great.
Dude, I don't know. I'm not excited. From what I've seen of this, I think the storyline. I don't think. It seems as if the setup is that Master Chief is almost like not the hero, not the number one guy. As if I think they're gonna make him look like a bitch. And that will really piss me off if they make Master Chief look like a bitch.
Does he look like a bitch?
And also, so I don't know. Does this mean that Halo, the events of Halo Reach haven't taken place yet? Because they would need to. Dude, this is gonna be some bullshit. Let me tell you, this is gonna be if they don't. This is gonna suck.
This is straight Walker cynicism right here. I'm loving this.
This is going to suck. They're not gonna explain anything because if you're gonna send us 500 years in the past and you're not going to explain how Reach would because Cortana's here.
There's no way they do that, right? There's no way they could do that.
They would have to. There's no way that they're just gonna be like, oh yeah, Reach took place. The events of Reach took place. Like also like 15 years before this. Like you're not going to place the entire timeline, 500 years back. Like because then it's just like you're just wrong. It's just wrong and stupid. So they'd have to explain how he got Cortana because Halo Reach hasn't happened yet. This is going to suck.
Oh boy. Well, I thought this was gonna like finally make you want. I mean, it got you talking at least, but you're still not happy talking Walker. So we're 0 for 1 with Hogwarts Legacy. We're 0 for 1 with
Dude,
Halo.
this is it's
How about we
so
try? How about we try Formula One? Can we talk? Can we
this
talk
is
happy
so
stuff with Formula
bad.
One?
I think you should lead us off there on your take on the Drive to Survive.
Oh yes. So for all of our
Oh boy.
long listening fans of this podcast, we talked about my TKT media consumption and how I binge watched the most recent season of Drive to Survive, the like Formula One docu-series on Netflix. Probably took me less than 36 hours to go through all 10 episodes of it. And background on me, I do not watch or follow any Formula One almost purposefully throughout the whole year so I can just get the nice meat of that whole series without any kind of spoilers to it. And we have, I think literally everyone else on the panel here, big Formula One fans, watch it throughout the season and also enjoy the series. So we're about to
Watch
have
the
a
race today.
yeah,
Actually.
of this recording, the opening. I'm gonna butcher the name of
Bahrain.
where it was at.
It's easy, bro.
Do it for me.
Bahrain.
Bahrain.
Bahrain. The season opener for the 2022 event was just today, and we're gonna have a nice debate and see if these boys can convince me to actually start watching Formula One throughout the season. Who would like to start?
I'll go.
I think
So
Carson
I
should
think
go.
yeah. So looking like I said before the pod, I didn't get the chance to binge watch the season yet of Drive to Survive, but I've done some background research and obviously I've watched the past 3 seasons of Drive to Survive.
Mm-hmm.
And my personal takeaway is that you don't get, at least from me, you don't get enough of the actual racing, right? The whole point of Drive to Survive is to show you what's going on behind the scenes, behind the race, and then it kind of gives you a summary of what happens in each race. Or sometimes, I've noticed this in the past years, is that it skips races
Mm-hmm.
or races that maybe are less eventful but still impactful to the season. They just don't take as much time on them because there was no drama or anything that happened outside of the actual race. And that is something that even the drivers are now having an issue with, um, following the most recent edition of Drive to Survive. So the one thing I wanted to kind of discuss, and this is why I'm anxious to watch this new season, because I through episode one I didn't realize it as much, um, but apparently throughout the season there's the drivers themselves who all have come out and they say, "Oh yeah, we love watching this. We like recording, and doing this throughout the season. We love being able to go back and watch our, kind of see everything how all the other drivers reacted." So they're all for it. They all really enjoy the Drive to Survive. But this year, a few of the drivers, I believe specifically, maybe it was Carlos Sainz, that was most vocal about it, just thought that it's over
Mm-hmm.
dramatized. They think that, there's not, and the issue that they have is there's not enough emphasis on the racing itself. And then they try to create more drama than there actually was off of the track, right? There,
Mm-hmm.
especially last season, and that's why I need to watch this season. And I should probably, maybe I'll have some time today and get moved on deeper into it. But um, especially last season, I see now why the drivers are considered like Carlos Sainz. I believe was the first driver who publicly said he was considering not taking part in this year's Drive to Survive because
Just a
because of
just a
that.
quick on that. Are there already drivers not doing that? Because
I'm pretty sure Verstappen doesn't, right?
okay, yeah, because I wanted to say like I think we should probably just like, if we do actually have listeners, to put big spoiler alerts at this point, because we'll
Yeah.
probably go way more in depth now of like um bits and pieces of possibly all the seasons of Drive to Survive, and then also the season opener for the 2022 season.
Mhm.
So if you haven't watched any of that, please do that before you start listening on. But yeah, I did want to like point, and I think Josh has um, kind of agreed that I think there are already drivers doing that. And I think Max Verstappen, like I could just tell without even knowing that I don't think he's wanted to be involved in this series for a couple seasons now, because I don't think he was very involved last season, and he wasn't at all this season, which is very ironic
So
given
you've
that
seen, so you're through your binge watching, there was no Max Verstappen interviews.
none.
Oh, okay.
Only ones that were like indirectly shot
Right, right.
by the
Not the
documentaries.
direct, not the direct
Exactly.
one-on-one. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting because I'm sure drivers have had their reasons for it in the past, and
Hmm.
maybe and it could be as simple as I want to focus on the racing. I don't want to give part. I don't want to take part of this because
Well,
it's going to
I don't
take
blame
away time.
I don't blame Verstappen at all. Like they made him look. I mean, I think some of it's justified, but at least from the first season, like they made him look like the villain
Oh yeah,
of that season. Which I mean,
yeah.
you're gonna have heroes and villains. I think throughout the season and even just like races themselves. But I could see why he was like, "Fuck that noise. I'm not partaking."
Especially with everything that went down between him and Ricardo,
Right.
and
Exactly.
what ended up, Ricardo made his own decision to leave Red Bull, but the Drive to Survive series made it seem like you know Verstappen was pushing him out, Red Bull was
Hmm.
pushing him out, and to some extent that's kind of true.
Hmm.
It seemed that they were giving preferential treatment to Verstappen,
Hmm.
that he was the driver of their future, and Ricardo was a great driver. And they never, to me, it wasn't that they were making things negative. Like it never was that they were pushing Ricardo out, but they were making a clear focus on, hey, Verstappen is our number one driver,
Almost like
which
neglect, like
right,
they weren't doing anything to hinder him, but they
right,
weren't like doing anything to help him out like Max.
exactly,
It's like
exactly,
with Bottas and Lewis.
yeah.
Exactly like him.
Yeah. So I think that would, but and then I think in the series it made it seem more so that they were pushing him, like they were actively pushing him out. They were trying to do things that made want so he would want to leave or something, which
Right.
I don't think is true. So to get back to the main point of the argument here in the discussion is I think you miss out on a lot of the actual racing and
Hmm.
the excitement of the individual races, right? You can see through watching the series, you get all of the summaries and the excitement in watching the race develop, like the season long race, championship race develop,
Hmm.
because it updates you on points and it talks about who's winning and why they're winning or whatever. And then obviously, there's a bit of drama. The drama's kind of focused on those winners. And um, I think the thing that you miss out from not watching the individual races is just the enjoyment and the actual excitement of the race itself. Take all the drama and everything out of it, and you just watch these cars go super fast. And it's like little things that are exciting when you're watching the race. They're not going to put in the series. Today when we were watching it, I bet you the first episode of next season, they're going to talk about um, how there was issues while they're because it's a whole new car, right? They have a
Hmm.
completely new car, and teams are having trouble figuring the car out, and um, Mercedes was struggling in practice. Uh, Haas was doing well in practice for the first time in years. They looked like a competitive team, and they're going to talk about things like that, and then they're going to talk about how in the race, um, cars had issues, right? There were. I'm trying to keep this without spoiling anything, but
Oh, you can spoil it.
No,
I
we're
don't
okay,
talking
care.
about spoilers.
okay. So with today's race, right? Red Bull was looking okay. Ferrari looked incredible. Their car looked like it was performing without any problems. The whole race, the Ferrari car just looked great. Red Bull was able to compete with them, although they were having trouble, with power a little bit throughout the race, and it just seemed like the top line speed Red Bull just couldn't get them, and that seemed to be the decider in the race. And then I think that next year, um, the main thing that they're going to focus on, the only thing you're going to see throughout this about this race, and it might be a little bit different because it is the first race of the season, so they might put a little emphasis on it. But I genuinely feel that the main takeaway you're going to get from the first episode of next year about this race is going to be how Ferrari wins and their car looks great. Mercedes holds on to a third and fourth place finish, and Red Bull had an engine problem that they had to retire both of their cars
No, that
because
sucks.
of engine problems on the last couple laps of the race. So it just doesn't have that longevity that it needs to complete a full race, and that's all you're going to hear about it. You're not going
And
to
yeah,
you're not going to see all of the little overtakes that happen on track that are just super exciting to watch because you're sitting there and that's the whole race. That's all you're focused on, right? With Drive to Survive, there's all the drama and the extracurricular and what's happening with deals and sponsors and these drivers don't like each other, blah blah blah. But when you're watching the race, you're only watching the race, so every little thing is super exciting. You have what won't even be covered in the Drive to Survive series because it's just like a pretty simple overtake.
Right.
You're on the edge of your seat, like grabbing the nearest thing to you because at any moment one of those cars could go a little too wide and take the other guy out, or he's gonna fight back and then he's not gonna give up the pass. And it's just like those little moments during an F1 race are so exciting, and you just don't get that same level of excitement
Mm-hmm.
when you watch Drive to Survive because again it focuses on the highlights.
Right. So
And
you're
yeah,
losing out on a lot of of things that they maybe show from time to time in it when they're actually showing racing footage, but it's just
right,
not it's
it's
not
not as
all of them
much.
that build up, and then you get
Mhm.
that great feeling when you've watched. How long are races usually?
2 hours.
hour
Maximum
and a
of 2
half.
hours.
Okay.
Maximum of 2 hours. There's actually a
Yeah.
time limit on it, so they can't go longer than 2 hours.
So so you get that buildup of 120 minutes of all these small little things and technicalities that
Hmm.
really pour into like a great moment at the end, especially if you have any kind of like emotional attachment to one or some of the drivers.
Exactly.
A question I have for anyone who wants to answer, how accurate, like it sounds like things get inflated obviously to make it a little bit more compelling in the Drive to Survive series. How would you rate the accuracy of events being shown and portrayed throughout the series?
Um,
I'll let you one of you.
yeah, it's so I don't have a giant take on this, but for example, like Grosjean's crash in one of the other seasons, I forget which season it was, but
2 seasons ago.
they dragged that they dragged that so far out on the show, and like that was accurate for sure, and everything was accurate about it, but it was just kind of like they wasted so much time talking about his crash. Like I think they dragged it out for 10 minutes. They made it seem like
Mm-hmm.
they made it like seem like super insane and everything, and it was, but like in reality, he got out of the car in like 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
But then they dragged it on, and then they kept showing like people's reactions in like the pits and the drivers saying, "Oh, is he okay?" But in reality, he got out within like 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that can kind of like make it seem like, oh shit, he was in the car for like a minute or two, but when in reality it happened like pretty fast. It was still super scary, but happened pretty
See, they
fast.
do that shit for me who like doesn't know, like, did he actually die? They're like
Yeah,
building it
yeah.
up.
And in the moment, it's like, oh my god, like, is he okay? And then you see him get out, and he's like, okay, like,
Yeah.
good.
Walker,
I
you were saying something? Yeah.
Yeah, so I would just like to bring this up as bit of an offshoot, but would you watch a documentary of the Super Bowl? Like, would you not watch the Super Bowl and then watch a documentary about it?
To be honest, like
I would do that.
if it was over the whole NFL season, which would be probably a equivalent of this, I would, because
You
I
would
don't.
never watch a game? Okay, well,
Well, so that's the thing is
how
I don't
invested
really
are you in
follow.
NFL?
Like
'Cause if you
I'm a pretty casual sports watcher. Like I will only watch highlights here and there.
Okay,
Like I
'cause
barely even knew the Bengals made it to the playoffs, which is like my childhood like football team, and like I didn't know till like I went to a restaurant and like, oh, the playoffs are on. Oh, it's the Bengals. What?
okay, so I just wanted to see what your take on that would be. Okay, what I would say is the only way you have a true choice is you have to watch one season in like on
Mm.
per. You have to watch a season at each race, and then you
Mhm.
can go a season off, watch the Drive to Survive, and then you can make a choice. Because there's no real way that we can convince you to do that until you make your choice of watching the season in season. That's the only way that you'll be able to go, okay, yeah, I would prefer to do one or the other.
That's a good point.
Well, and,
I
like-
think you have. I think honestly, from all of your guys' conversations, I think this might be the year I finally do decide to watch it all the way through, because it is enticing to see like a little bit more of the technicalities where over the drama that is more portrayed in the documentary.
Yeah, and I don't even watch every race. Like I'll definitely watch races, but and if I don't watch a race, I'll just like kind of keep track of it. Watch highlights on YouTube, and then that's kind of what I usually do. Like if I don't even watch the race, but I'd say like sitting through a race, like watching the full weekend is probably really like the most exciting thing. Like if you watch like maybe and you kind of monitor how practices are going on Friday. I don't actually usually watch the practices, but I keep track of them. And then if you watch qualifying and then watch the race, it's so much more exciting because it's like the full weekend, and you're like, you watch the qualifying, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm excited for tomorrow morning. I'll get to watch that race.
What's everyone's favorite track to watch? Like, if you guys were to make your own personal recommendation for me to which track would you recommend I watch if I was only to watch one for the season?
Spa.
Oh, one.
I don't know. I don't know enough about
tracks.
I
would say as far as excitement, I would honestly say the Circuit Day of America. So it's the one in Texas.
I'd watch Miami.
That's a new one, right?
No. There's one in Miami that's new.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the one in Texas has been around for I'm not sure how many years, but it's been around. It's not a new one, but there is a brand new one that's going to be in Miami. I think this season they're racing there. But yeah, no, I would suggest it's called COTA, COTA, Circuit of the Americas, and I suggest that one because historically it provides the most excitement as far as overtaking goes. There's it almost every year it ranks within the top 2 or 3 tracks of for number of overtakes in a single race.
Oh wow.
So as far as watching for the overtaking, I would suggest that the Texas track.
It's called Crypto.com is the Miami.
Of course.
Monaco is also
Monaco's exciting for a different reason.
Really
yeah, I was just saying Monaco is very boring to watch.
Yeah.
It's like that's probably
I'd
the least
say the
rated
opposite.
when
I
it
think
comes to the overtakes, right?
Yes, Monaco is like the least because and Josh, I find Monaco super exciting, but for a different reason. Like if you're looking for watching,
it's not like overtakes, but
if you're watching,
it's also a really
competitive
famous
racing
track.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're watching for the overtakes and everything, it's not going to be that exciting. But if you watch for just crazy driving ability to drive at that speed in such a tight track, literally in a city, Monaco's fun to watch.
That makes sense. I'm being enticed, guys. This is exciting. I think I am gonna probably try to watch at least several races this season.
Yeah, and what I would say too is you don't have to jump into being like a crazy F1 fan, because I personally do try to watch every single race. But that's also because I have a roommate or a couple roommates that also try to watch every race, so it makes it easy because like if I sleep through or I'm hungover or something, they'll wake me up or they'll pause it and like we'll go get breakfast and then we'll come home and it'll be on ready to go or something.
Hey Carson, you might want to turn your game volume.
Okay. So
I thought I was hearing something.
Cool.
I
Cool.
thought I was hearing something too.
I was like,
I'm crazy.
Okay. So, anyways, though, but it makes it easier for me to watch and keep up with it because I have other people that will like I said, will pause it or people to watch it with. So I do watch every race, but I don't like try to force yourself to watch everything because a lot of the races are at like 9 a.m. on a Sunday. It's probably a little different for you because
because I'm a boomer. Go ahead and say it.
Because you're a boomer and you're not going out on Saturday night until 3 a.m. like some other people might.
Okay, now you're calling me a loser and a boomer. All right, I like this combo.
I'm just calling myself immature.
Well, boomers don't stay up until 3
next
today.
Next week's
go to
at
bed at
1
9.
p.m.
Yeah.
Next week's is at 1 p.m. So that should be easy watch.
So, but yeah, so I wouldn't like force yourself to try and watch every single race, especially just getting into it. But I would say don't force yourself to avoid it. Like if you're gonna get up, if you're gonna be up anyways, or you're not doing anything, I would suggest watching it because one of the things I wanted to say earlier too is I don't think it takes away from anything in Drive to Survive. I think most of the because I assume that their target market is people who watch F1. So they're not emphasizing or like making the points they're not trying to put you on like a cliffhanger for things that you know already what happened. Now the Grosjean crash is a little different because that was like a huge event and like obviously it was super scary and you didn't know what happened even when you were watching the race. But I don't think that they try and make cliffhangers out of things like who wins a race and stuff like that.
You might be interested actually on that though, this I don't know if we should talk about this now or if we should wait and try to give it a week to see if we can all see the series, but
Yeah.
like I was pleasantly surprised even for myself cuz again, spoilers for those who are listening, Max Verstappen wins the world championship driver's champion position this past season, which like fucking Reddit like immediately spoiled for me. Like every time I see a Formula Dank subreddit post, I'm like, fuck, I gotta give the algorithm thought that I don't watch Formula One and I'm probably fucking up because I'm saying all this next to my phone, but yeah, they were like, oh, you want to know? I was like, no, I don't. So
Yeah,
like
you
that
also don't have to worry about being spoiled if you watch it in season.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like I did not know, just to my point, like I did not know that Mercedes won the constructors championship. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I was not I was just expecting Red Bull to win that as well because it almost seems like it goes hand in hand, which I mean, don't have much evidence of that since it's been Mercedes literally like for the last 7 years minus last year. But
yeah, just to touch on that real quick, just to like fill you in, I wouldn't necessarily say it goes hand in hand. It's just that F1 has not been super competitive through the field for the last 10 years. It's pretty much been a 2-team race, maybe a 3-team race. So obviously, when it's only a 2-team race, usually the team that wins has the driver that wins the driver championship ends up winning the constructors because there's only like 2 teams that are splitting. But what I'm hoping for this season, and it seems like we might get it because without the engine failures from Red Bull, it wouldn't have been like a Ferrari, Mercedes finished. It would have been a little bit more spread out. And so I hope that allows like a multi-team race for the constructors championship as well as a multi-driver race for the driver championship. But yeah, I mean, I definitely understand not knowing who wins would be exciting for Drive to Survive, but I also don't think that's what the highlight is. Survive, like I don't think that's the.
So, man, I feel like
I'll have a better answer, next week if we talk about it again.
Yeah, you'll have to watch this season because in regards to like, and I'm sure this is why like Carlos Sainz did not like this season it was literally like it was basically the battle of the giants. Like they from the first episode to the very last moments of the series, like it was like all about Mercedes versus Red Bull, and they would like occasionally get like McLaren and Haas and Ferrari like a few moments of glory, but it was almost always like team principles and just like talking through the gauntlet battle and just like the back and forth with all of that, which I mean, I don't know, should we wait on this? Like I really want to talk about the last race of last season, but I don't know if we should wait till we've all watched through the series to discuss it, because I'm very interested with the controversy that occurred with that, but I don't know if we are all like refreshed enough to really dive into that. That's kind of up to you guys.
I could definitely dive into it because I'm interested to see what the difference is between the Drive to Survive version is and what was just out there as like public knowledge. Like this was an incident. You don't normally get this much coverage.
Your game's going again, Carson.
Fuck, why? What is that? I think I figured it out. I don't know what that is.
Turn the game off.
Anyways, So it's um because of the level of this controversy, it was covered a little more in depth than I believe the past does, with other issues that have happened off track. Or well, that was an on track issue, obviously, but I feel like it was covered better than other issues have been, because
Yeah.
there's other times where like maybe a car retires out of they just retire and you don't know why, and then you have to like go and dig through like random blog posts from reporter A and reporter C, and you're like, I don't know what happened, but this was so out in the open and right in your face that I don't think there was that much difference between happened with in Drive to Survive verse.
Mm-hmm.
It's just probably in Drive to
Maybe
Survive
we
they get
should
more
wait
background.
then. I feel like we should wait to talk about it until like at least a couple of you have watched through it. Because you guys, I'm guessing at least two of you watched the actual event
I
in
watched.
real
Yeah, I
time.
saw the race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, could we try to set a time like either 1 or 2 weeks from now, where we have at least watched that episode and then talk about it again? Because I mean, we're like I think what like 20 minutes now into Formula One, so we could probably move to new topics and then re-explore this once we've all watched it and you guys can give your full notes on it.
Yeah.
Sure, I think
That
we can
sounds
make
good.
it more of like a
That
drive to
sounds
just
good.
drive to survive kind of recap.
I mean, yeah, if I'm going to be watching it, which, yeah, I think you guys sold me on it in terms of like explaining why. And then I think Walker made a good point as to I just need to try it out and see if season 5 of Drive to Survive is just as compelling as when I wasn't watching it. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Well, let's see. What else do we got here? That's honestly like kind of the big stuff in regards to news from this past week. I just kind of pulled a few other articles that might be fun to talk about, some of our own personal love for certain game elements, including this Game Informer article I found in regards to a composer who made the soundtrack for Journey, which I thought I knew this game and like when it came out, but apparently it came out like just now, over like a week ago, a decade, and decided to kind of take a new take on the music and re-record and everything. And I found this article very interesting because I have over the years studied to a lot of like cinematic soundtracks. So not only just from movies but also games as well. When games have gotten bigger and bigger each year, it just seems like the scores for them get bigger as well. So I was curious if anyone had any specific game soundtracks or music that they're super compelled by or just really enjoy listening to on a regular basis.
Yeah, I got it. Easy.
Go for it, Walker.
Yeah, easy.
Castle Crashers. Bang.
Oh,
Done.
yeah?
No worries.
Really?
Dude, that shit's iconic. Everywhere, every time I see I mean, in terms of like actually like listening to it, I don't know if there's any games like that for me. I'll think about that. But anytime I see something with that has music from the Castle Crashers game, I'll always see in the comments someone's like, "Dude, I know where this is from. I've heard it before. I've heard it so many times. I just can't think of it because the game at this point is I don't know how old that is, but
14 years.
yeah, I mean it's
Wow.
an old game, so like everyone and their mom has fucking played that game, and
It's crazy to think it's that
you
old,
just
honestly.
know everyone's just heard it before, and they just go, man, that. Then you tell them what it is, and they just go, man, that's some good shit right there.
Josh, any soundtracks that you are in love with, or any specific songs for any games?
The Olympic soundtrack.
Like the
Okay.
NBC shit.
It's my favorite, dude. The Olympic fanfare. It's like, I was
Yeah,
gonna
go on.
sing it, but I forget
Like a
how.
sample of it.
Let's hear you
Yeah.
sing it. Let's hear you attempt singing it.
Hold on. 1 second. I gotta find that video of Jarrett.
Okay. I can't
no.
think of like any video.
Do you remember the one I
games.
sent
Yeah.
of Jarrett?
Yeah.
Oh
That was
yeah,
a-
that one.
It was at like 4:30 a.m. and I started blasting the Olympic fanfare theme, and I just like turned my flash on and took a video of him like right next to his face, and he was just not having it.
Yeah, he looked pretty amped. He looked like
he was
Oh,
out
you
of it,
got
but
some
ready to go.
Hotline Miami. Forgot about
oh,
that.
Hotline
Ooh,
Miami
Hotline
is so
Miami
good.
is good.
That's
And what's that one game? Starfetchers is really good too.
As we're missing out on a big one.
nah, but the Starfetchers one isn't much of like a soundtrack. It's more of just a song.
Hmm.
I think
It's
it's
still
good,
really
but
good
it's
though.
just-
I really liked it.
My
It's still,
favorite.
it's like a Hotline Miami vibe.
My favorite still hasn't shown up yet, which is Halo 3. Which I know is like a cliche kind of answer, but
There's
I
some bangers in there.
actually
I just-
freshman year, I think it was
Oh.
freshman year of college, I used to study and do homework
Mm-hmm.
to the Halo 3 soundtrack. And game music is so interesting to me. Like another one I really enjoy is Doom. Doom's a bit more like hardcore,
Oh yeah.
Doom is so
Um,
good.
but it's so good. Like the soundtrack is so good. It's not necessarily music that I listen to all the time, but I have tried it once. I've pulled up the Doom soundtrack while I went lifting. That was good. That was
It was
a
the
good
best
time.
workout of your life.
Does,
Might have been.
I have
But
another one too.
does
but-
GTA 5 radio station count?
no.
But
So-
we do need to give credit to the developers because they just pull out so many good bangers from so many genres
Yeah.
for their Grand Theft Auto games.
I agree. But I think the really interesting thing about custom, game soundtracks like Halo and Doom and Castle Crashers, games that design their own audio, the really interesting thing about it is like it actually is like it's very good for studying. It's designed to keep your focus.
Yeah.
It's designed to keep your focus and keep you engaged, but also be entertaining. And I think that is such a cool thing. Like I never knew that. It was probably a couple years ago that I've read that article. I think it was actually freshman year that I read that article, and that's why I started studying to Halo 3 because I read the article about how, game music is supposed to keep you focused and locked in.
You actually
Um,
chose two games, both Doom and Halo, that actually have really cool like behind the scenes YouTube videos.
Yeah, they do.
Of, like how the composers decide on certain aspects with their music and like then how it's built into the game. Like there's trigger points within like linear single player games where they might like have certain elements or sections of their songs like build up depending on where you're at in the game itself, which is just it's so cunning. Like I mean, that article is just spot on. To my favorites, which I've listened to frequently, it's always kind of like I do love my 8-bit, kind of like the Castle Crashers, the Shovel Knight, the like
Shovel Knight's good.
Undertale songs and soundtracks. And then I love like some of the more cinematic ones like Fallout. Some of the Far Cry series has some really good ones, like Far Cry 5. Like it's got a little bit more of like that apocalyptic Western sound, which my goodness, if you've never listened like just to like the soundtracks of Red Dead,
Yeah.
just
Fantastic.
perfect to study to.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Another
It's-
game.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, I interrupted you. Go.
No, go ahead.
I just want to mention it real quick. Final Fantasy 14 online has such good music. So good. It fits the environment super well, and it's just like it's just stuck in your head all the time. All the time. Like, even still, it's stuck in my head.
On top of that, like at least Spotify, it's funny we're shitting on Spotify, but Spotify has just a great collection of artists who've also done their own cover of so many different game songs. So like on top of what you were saying, Josh, like there's some great just like piano instrumental covers of some of the Final Fantasy stuff. It's
Yeah.
just so well done. You can find unlimited stuff on Spotify or any kind of like streaming music service. Let's see. So, yeah, I was gonna talk about how Red Dead is actually that's honestly what I'll do when I make our videos with our own composed music, is I'll just like try to pull up inspiration. So I've been listening to a lot of Red Dead and Django Unchained to kind of get a feel for our ranch simulator videos that will be popping up here pretty soon.
I think one that I mean, because I don't play these games very often, but like Legend of Zelda, for a game I've never played, is very enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Like any of those games, like Ocarina of Time,
Really, yeah.
of course, the main theme, of course. Like if a game I've never played a Legend of Zelda or a Zelda game, and
Ever?
never, or maybe once when I was 6, but never in
Oh my
recent
God.
memory. But I thoroughly enjoy those all the time. Game I do play often, Minecraft. Now Minecraft, in terms of actual music, might not be on the same quality as the other ones, and I mean that as in like, the Zelda being catching stuff like that. But when you're in Minecraft and you have sounds
Perfect.
on, it is incredible because you go into a cave, right? And I genuinely get scared because I'll hear the fucking ring and I'll freak the fuck out because now that there's the warden. The warden is like, I don't know if you guys have played it all, but
I'm not
it's
familiar.
this
What is this?
scary fucking thing. I'll just tell you
Oh,
that.
no.
It's scary. But like now with adding with what they already had with the sounds, like the cave sounds and stuff like that, on top of having new mobs in the game that you may not know what they sound like, or just knowing there's new mobs, and basically what it is this massive thing that will kick the shit out of you, and if you're not like super geared all the way. And so it's terrifying. But yeah, the immersion I get when I listen to the Minecraft, playing Minecraft and not like having any background noise, it's just the music. That is probably, honestly, has to be my number one.
Yeah, I completely forgot about it, so I'm glad you brought it up. Like I would argue it holds so well just like to listen to. So for instance, like when I made our like nostalgic Minecraft video from a couple years ago, like I like all that most of the music, like maybe one song was not like actually in our gameplay. And so like I listened to the soundtrack probably like 3 or 4 times on repeat just to kind of get a feel for which songs would fit well in that like 18-minute video, and it never got old. It was always just so good. And then when it was then used in the video, it just lined up perfectly with what was going on. It's such good variety and just a great immersive feeling when you're playing that game or watching gameplay video. It's just so good. And can we like I think you pointed on something, Walker. Can we all just appreciate how many times you can listen to any Nintendo song from anything and it's just like and it repeats. It repeats like 40 times and it never gets old. Like how do they do that?
Nintendo's got some good composers, composition.
Keep them on retainer for sure.
Composter.
Yeah, I mean, I know that like Souls games have pretty good music, but I've never played any of those, so I can't speak
You're
on
playing
them.
Elden Ring, aren't you?
Yeah, but that's not the older games. Like I like I think it's Bloodborne's is really good, and then I know like
Mhm.
one of the other like Souls 1, 2, or 3. But yeah, no, and I think when I was speaking of Castle Crashers, I think that Minecraft really hits that like in when you hear the Minecraft music, it's Minecraft music. That shit just really like pulls you back. It's
Mhm.
kind of like, man, that's yeah, and given that it is that it is the most highest selling game of all time, so that would get about anybody. Remember that.
Yeah, I think someone made a good comment on a Reddit post at one point where they are pretty sure like C418 is like the most listened to musical artist of all time now, given the billions of hours of Minecraft that's been played in the past 10 plus years now. So, yeah,
13,
you just
14, long time.
I guess it was '09, wasn't it? I
I think
guess I was
so.
thinking when it was initially
I mean, you
released
said 10
in
plus, so that's
2011.
fine.
Yeah, that's true. I covered myself.
Yeah,
I like to qualify.
but
Anyone else have any soundtracks that they thought of while we were talking that you're like, no, this needs to be said, or we'll sound like idiots and be commented to death?
Not any that I can remember.
Yeah, personally, I was a fan of Guitar Hero.
yeah.
That was
Yeah,
a pretty
great
good one.
soundtrack there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I feel like the music and the gameplay really lined up.
yeah,
I was gonna play. I was gonna play antagonist with that bit, but that got me. Couldn't do it anymore.
Good. That was the
Oh
goal.
man. Can we should we move on to media consumption? We've already talked for over an hour. Good lord.
Yes,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
I can go first because mine actually is music.
He needs to go
So
poop. That's why he needs to go first.
no, it kind of went away. I don't need to.
Okay. We'll see about that.
It disappeared. But this week, well, I was on like vacation and stuff, so I couldn't really like play games or anything. But there was some. It was a big EDM week for me, and for the whole EDM community in general. I'd say probably the best album of the time I've been in EDM came out on Friday. It's by a guy named Sudden Death. And the album is called Void. Called Void 2. There's already like a first edition, but it's a very theatrical kind of themed take on EDM. Obviously, a lot of people aren't going to like it because it's like a devil demon sort of hell theme.
Yes.
But
Bro, big up.
but it is,
Panic.
I can say it's probably one of the best albums I've heard in so long. And
Oh, wow.
he even like hid a ton of Easter eggs in it. Like there's like 4 acts to this album, and in each act has like its own track, like to split the sections of songs. And in the last section, the sounds actually make the waveforms into pictures of like a skull or like all this other stuff. So this guy, and even live, he makes his performances like super like theatrical when you see one of his themed sets, and it's one of like the craziest things I've ever seen live that has to do with
Nuts.
music. It's definitely not for probably any of you here, but I just want to say it's probably one of the best albums that's come out a long time.
Yo, I'm not
Um,
that boomer. I listen to EDM. I can
Yeah, but
hold.
this is like not normal EDM.
Ain't your grandma's E EDM.
But and
I'll
then
give it a
last
listen, though.
night, yeah, last night I went to the Rez concert here, and that was amazing. Rez is just such a great artist. I know all of you guys would like Rez.
Yeah, bro,
actually.
he's pretty good at Counter Strike too.
It's actually a girl.
Damn, that's
But but she's amazing. She's such a good artist, and she has some of the best like production and stuff. Really like techno kind of music, super heavy with bass. Super good. But yeah, that was like my media consumption, just a lot of music and going out to a concert and all that.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to both Rez and this Void 2 album. I'm gonna
Yeah.
show you I'm still hip. I got it.
It's very dark, so get ready, prepare yourself.
still
Beautiful.
in the end.
Walker, what do you got for this week's media consumption?
It's a great question. I think I played Elden Ring. I don't remember.
Not sure.
I don't
Well,
remember.
I woke up about 5 or 6 a.m. every day.
Is it because
Uh,
you can't remember or because you refuse to try to remember?
Honestly, I don't know at this point. But I've been watching a lot of Counter Strike as the ESL Pro League Season 15 commences.
Man.
I've played actually a bit of Counter Strike yesterday. I don't know. I didn't really do anything interesting this week. Just I guess basketball's on, so that's
Yeah,
fun.
that's a new exciting thing going on.
yeah. I mean,
there.
I haven't honestly done anything at all this week. Be lackluster.
F1.
Yeah, but like we already talked about.
Yeah,
that
we already
for
talked about
20
that. We all
minutes.
know. We all know
Yeah,
already.
I'll explain the whole F1 race.
Are you still digging Elden Ring, Walker? Is it still holding up, or have you
Yeah, no,
lost
it's
some of the charm?
fine. I just haven't found the time to do so because I tend to watch Counter Strike for I think it's about like 10 hours of the day,
Oh my
and then-
gosh.
and then I go to sleep after that
Wow.
because I wake up at 5 a.m.
Wait, who's Counter Strike?
Oh, you've never heard of Counter Strike, the legend?
Okay.
The
Yeah,
Legend
who is he?
27.
Counter Strike is a man with no remorse for your
Walker's
sanity.
sugar daddy.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with that game. So
I just have a hate relationship.
yeah,
With
well, at least
Counter-Strike?
it's not Valorant.
Actually,
so-
I like Flying Scoutsman. That's pretty fun.
Okay, you fully lost me now.
It's
Scout's
it's
not
like
a movie.
it's like
It's a
gravity is
community map.
reduced, and then you just have these scouts and you like jump around maps and like shoot each other.
Oh man, if you put portals, it'll be Splitgate in no time. All right, Carson,
Who's
what do you
next?
got?
Nothing super exciting. I hate to continue that trend, but I mean, I had a good week. I had a lot of schoolwork to do this week, um, but I'd say for the most part, the free time I've had has been spent watching basketball or I've been monitoring the Cleveland Browns trade situation.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's
Oh yeah, I
hasn't
saw a
that
bit of
been
that.
pretty intense?
Yeah, I've never been one to like super heavily monitor free agency, right? Because like at least the way I thought about it before is like the teams, it's whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. Usually it's pretty cut and dry. Usually you see like a report like, oh hey, this guy is expected to sign with this team, and because all of these reporters nowadays have connections with everybody and super close to the players, like whatever the reporter usually says is usually true.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never been one to follow free agency or trades in general, super close. But this one is the first time that it's been super. It's been like a big like headliner kind of trade for the Cleveland Browns.
This one's personal.
Yeah, this one had the Browns into it, and it's a big name player who obviously has a bit of off the field controversy,
I saw that. Yikes.
and kind of a split fan base within our own organization. There was a lot of people that supported Baker and a lot of people that wanted to see Baker Mayfield gone. So there was like a lot of different things at play here within just the Cleveland Browns is why I was so interested, because I was taking in media from official Browns pages. Then there was like fan pages, and then there were like player fan pages that were saying, oh, like Baker fan pages that were like, oh, Baker's got to get out of here now, like fuck the Cleveland Browns. Baker deserves more than this, blah blah blah. And then there's people from the Cleveland Browns on like other fan pages that were like, oh, Baker sucked. Like we need to get him gone. And then there's other people who are kind of in the middle, like, which is kind of where I stand. Is like I like Baker. I think he could have been a better quarterback. I don't know if he's going to be the one that would lead us to a Super Bowl, but like I appreciate what he's done and elevate. Like he has definitely elevated the Cleveland Browns back into relevancy in the NFL. So like I really like the guy. I hope he does well wherever he goes. But yeah, it was crazy to see all these different sides come together on social media and talking, like everyone sharing their opinion. And the one thing that I thought was kind of cool was that it wasn't super toxic. And that's being relevant here because we're talking about social media, so of course it's going to be toxic. But it seemed like the discussions that were being had on these posts and on these pages were fairly like civil. Like people were sharing their opinions, like, "Hey, I think Baker Mayfield was a bad quarterback," and the other guy would respond with, "I think he was dealt, a tough hand. The play calling wasn't great. Obviously, he was hurt last year." Like it seemed like there was actual communication, which I thought was interesting in its own right. Just not even related to the Browns. Whatever the argument is, it's kind of cool to see people on the internet actually get along for once.
Well, minus the whole other side of their potential, or have they signed Deshaun Watson?
Deshaun Watson has been signed. It's an official deal.
There's that whole aspect as well in the controversy.
Yeah, and that, I don't want to get too much into that.
Take the Browns to do something like this.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. The front office needs to do what the front office does, and now that the legal charges have been just dropped on Deshaun Watson, I feel like it's a safe move.
The felony charges.
The legal charges.
There's still civil.
Civil is not legal. There's a difference.
Okay.
So the civil cases are still
It's
open.
technically legal. It's just not criminal, right?
Criminal. That's the word.
I was about to say. I was like.
So the criminal charges have been dropped. The legal charges or the civil charges are still pending, and there's still the investigation being
What did he
done
do?
by the NFL.
We don't. Need that.
Yeah, it was
Just know-
essentially
Sexual
No, it's-
misconduct.
yeah, sexual
We'll say
misconduct,
that.
sexual misconduct,
And assault, possibly.
and he has 22,
Allegedly.
22 civil cases right now that are being looked at, and the NFL is doing their own investigation.
22?
Yeah, so
Just a
we'll
couple.
see. Yeah, so but like I said, all of the criminal charges have been
Couple
dropped on
dozen.
him, which I'm not saying makes this like he's a good guy or anything. Like I hope he is able to become a good person, like learn from his mistakes and become a good person, and not be a scumbag anymore. But I think as far as football side of things, when he's unsuspended, because I have a feeling he's going to be suspended for like 6 games is what the estimate is. So when he's suspended and we don't have a quarterback for 6 games, I hope he's able to resolve his issues off the field and become a good person, and then obviously take the Browns to success. But I want to make it very clear that I don't condone any of what he's done.
Yeah, well, there's
what's
accused
allegedly been
all allegedly, but
Yes.
but yeah, definitely very controversial. Comparably to I think Baker Mayfield. I agree. I watched the Hard Knocks HBO
Oh,
series
yeah,
when
that
it
was
was on the
great.
Browns, and he does Mayfield does portray a very upstanding guy, and what
Mhm.
seems to create a positive resonance
Mhm.
amongst the team.
Wait, he
So
had an HBO show?
seemed like a
Mhm.
great leader, a great locker room guy, and I'm sad to see him go. I'm gonna be honest. I would have liked, and I talked to Walker about this before. Like, I wanted to see what a healthy Baker Mayfield would have done for us next year, but obviously the team went a different way, and I can't be angry at the team for pursuing a higher caliber quarterback.
yeah.
But yeah, I would have personally liked to see what Baker could have done. But I understand that like this is not an opportunity that comes around a lot, where there's an all pro quarterback that is fielding options to be traded. So yeah, that's interesting for sure. And we'll see, I guess, where the Deshaun Watson thing goes.
Mm-hmm. Time will tell. Well, I haven't been doing too much in regards to media consumption. Been working hard on these edits for our Ranch Simulator series. I did come across a very interesting video, though, which I'm not sure if anyone's seen this before. It's the video game map size comparison. A 5-minute animation showing what I think they have tried to figure is some of the largest video game maps out there in current time. So it's like how many maps they actually show in this is astounding, but I wanted to play just a very small game. We'll watch the video, but prior to that, I want to see what all of your top 3 biggest game video map predictions are. Let's start with Walker. What do you think are the largest video game maps out there? And it's literally any video game.
The thing is, I have watched this and I forgot. But I think I have a good scope.
Well, how about we have you go last then?
Yeah, I was
so
gonna
we'll
suggest
have
that.
let's have Josh go first.
I think probably the PUBG giant maps.
Okay.
Those things are massive compared to the player. I'm
So
trying to
how
think of
about-
other games.
Is that so? Maybe, yeah. You think of more. Well, maybe we'll go like from 3, 2, 1 with Carson and Josh. So, Carson, your third biggest map, you think?
I'll just throw out the biggest. Just get our
Just to get the biggest out.
predictions.
Of all
Alright,
games
Just
ever,
throw out the map. Yeah.
the top
Yeah.
3.
We don't need to pull this out too far.
True. We're getting.
I'd
all
say.
in.
Well, I've got a top 3.
Okay, go top 3 then.
Being okay, maybe top 4, but it's between, because I can't make a decision between Skyrim,
Just do it.
Skyrim, GTA, Red Dead, and Arma series.
Okay, so we'll say Arma. We'll do Arma series. We'll do a
I'm
Rockstar
going
game,
with-
and then
yeah.
we'll do Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, and then Josh.
Hmm. I just haven't played like I don't know.
Just
Like
tell
I
us about
haven't
a
fully
game.
played through Skyrim. I don't know how big that map is. I don't know how big Elder Scrolls or like the Elden Ring is. Or I'm still just gonna stick with PUBG, like the massive
All right.
ones. Or is it
PUBG.
H1Z1?
Alright, so-
Which one had the bigger one? I forget.
I don't know. So they're not thinking at all. So if
It's
I
all right.
can
It's all right.
remember
We'll watch
correctly,
the video. We'll watch the video so they can be like, oh
you
shit.
don't want me to throw out any of mine.
Oh, is it? Oh, Minecraft.
I mean, I bet you have an
No, that's-
idea.
Oh.
What
Yeah,
about
I
Minecraft?
mean,
It's infinite.
I forget.
Or
I
it
don't
can be.
remember what the top
It's
one
not.
is, but I know
It has
what
to be
the
Minecraft.
higher
I
aspects
will
are.
say this.
It has to be Minecraft.
Let's go to the watch
Yeah,
together.
Minecraft doesn't
two,
count because it's infinite. So
it's technically on there actually.
You can reach
Yeah,
the edge,
but-
actually.
Because on, like, Bedrock,
yeah,
right?
I don't think that and the biggest one that they have on there, I don't believe counts. So,
I forget what they actually are, but I know a
Here.
couple of them.
So watch together is posted in our podcast channel,
Joining.
and then we'll all right, we'll just do a quick watch.
Yeah, you guys did not
I mean,
think, anywhere.
We'll see.
Because I did watch this, but I forgot my.
the scale is pretty crazy.
Let me
So
just-
for listeners out there, they've had some of the Tom Clancy's and some of the Ubisoft like Assassin's Creed's on there. Fortnite's been put on, and now we're kind of getting into the meat of the stuff like Rockstar, GTA, some
Yeah,
very random games like Life is Feudal.
you guys just
Fallout
didn't pick up
4.
on the Assassin's Creed games because one major player you're missing is the entirety of the Bahamas in Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag
Why would
yeah.
Why would I play that game?
because it is the greatest Assassin's
I've actually
Creed
never
game
played that.
of all time. I forget
Yeah, I
what it
do
is.
kind
I
of
think
forget because of like fast travel ability. The games just don't seem as big.
I forget about. I think it's
Right.
GTA 5. I think it's pretty big. I know Assassin's Creed.
Well, I remember
Black
Sniper
Flag
Ghost
is
Warrior.
really
That game
Yeah,
was
I've heard of that
massive.
one,
Yeah,
too.
I remember playing that. That was big.
I was. I
I know
remember.
Mafia was that big.
I remember watching this because I
Mafia,
wanted to
dude.
see the.
Now I want to know is Arma on there?
it
You'll just have to
might
wait to
be.
see.
Okay. There's Elder Scrolls. There's my
And we're,
Skyrim.
as you can see, we're not even halfway through the video.
Yeah.
We got more Elder Scrolls
Oblivion.
coming up.
Oblivion was that big? Oh my gosh, pretty big.
Red
Then
Dead.
Red Dead,
The
which
original.
doesn't. Yeah. Still Rockstar. Some Far Cries are coming up. What else we got here? More Far Cry. We're just in the 3 and 4. So there's like what now? 7?
6, I
Far
think.
Cry? No,
I think
6.
Is it
yeah,
6?
6. I think 6.
Random games. I've never heard of Sacred 2.
Mm-mm.
Far Cry,
Far Cry
5.
five.
This was. I think this
60
video was made
kilometers.
before Far Cry
Weird.
6 came out.
That is true.
Yeah,
That was-
there's my
PUBG.
guess.
There's your PUBG. Not bad. 64 kilometers square. That's pretty good.
Oh, I should have guessed that.
Yeah, we got a Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
Look at this
Breath
big
of the
boy.
Wild.
Far
Far
Cry.
Cry
I don't know
2,
why
dang.
it's divvied like that. Must have been another world you could go to.
I don't.
I think here
I've
comes
never
the Arma.
played.
Oh no, that's Assassin's Creed.
There's Origins. What else
Assassin's
is there?
Creed is
Valhalla's
80.
small.
GTA 5.
GTA 5 is 1 square kilometer bigger than
Oh, here we go.
the.
Egypt.
No, it's still Assassin's Creed.
Odyssey.
Where's the one? So this is the one I think I was thinking of. Oh my god, it still doesn't.
Oh,
come
that's a
up.
big one. Yeah, I didn't
The
even
Witcher
think about that
3.
one. I played that game. I played that one. That's a big
Like how
one.
there's just gonna be 5 minutes of us just saying.
World of
how
Warcraft,
small-
that's obvious. That's so obvious.
have the
Wait,
video
but how
posted
about
up.
those things look so small? Dude, no one played Superman.
Yeah,
Returns.
random
Are you kidding
outlier.
me?
Superman Returns.
Dude, Lost Ark
Here
is
it
pretty
is.
big.
Yep. So that
Daisy.
that falls into what I was talking about because that's Arma 2's map. Oh wait, no,
Correct.
that's the standalone, which is
Yeah.
still Arma
But
2's
it's
map.
built
but
off of Arma.
There's the big guy.
Same
I
map.
hate
I
to tell you,
forgot- I
Carson, that
forgot
it's still
watching
not
this
the
video.
biggest. We're not even close.
Operation Flashpoint. What is that?
No idea.
Xenoblade? Never played that.
Yeah, I remember watching this video. I knew Assassin's Creed Black Flag wasn't the biggest, but I remember it being like up there.
Oh,
Look at
I
that
played
thing.
that. That game is so fun. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon.
Burnout, baby. I can't believe it's that
Wow.
big.
What is
Yeah, me
Burnout?
neither.
Is that just
Oh,
a
it's
That's
car
an
game?
old. Yeah, it's.
Oh,
Like
you
an
never
older
played
car game.
Burnout?
No.
Oh, so it's like an arcade, but like kind of realistic racing car game. It's so good.
True Crime.
Look
I
how
think we
small
start to
that
kind
was.
of see a trend here is that a lot of these are kind of like very big traversal vehicle maps, like the
Yeah.
Just Cause series. Like I think
Pause.
some of the Forza series are going to be coming up.
Forza. Forza Horizon
I have
4.
no idea what that is.
Ahrian's
Ashran's Call.
But look at
Asteroid
that fucking
Unlimited.
roll, dude. It's so big in the corner.
Wham! The
The
crew.
Crew?
Yeah, I
yeah.
forgot
It's the
about
whole
that
United
game.
States. I
Yo,
forgot
that
about that.
GTA 6 is gonna match that, bro.
What the
Fuel.
heck? Look at that thing. Fuel. No idea what that is.
14,000
Wow.
kilometers square.
Wow.
Square
Guild
kilometers.
Wars.
Okay, DayZ was 220 something. That was 38,000 Guild Wars.
Lord of the Rings Online? What the fuck?
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Elder
What?
Scrolls
That thing.
2.
Uh,
Whatever that.
Daggerfall? What the
What the
heck?
hell is that?
Minecraft, it's Minecraft.
Yeah.
It's Minecraft. Because to get to the edge of a Minecraft world, it takes so long.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky.
See, I don't think those count
I don't think
just because
that.
you can.
Yeah.
I feel like
was
No
gonna
Man's
say.
Sky just shouldn't count, just
Because it's outer. It literally is the entirety of space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minecraft makes sense though, because Minecraft there
But
is
it
an
doesn't, because it's almost an infinitely generated thing, and
Yeah.
you should
but it's
never hit
not.
the edge of the world.
How big would that file size be for you to finally like get to the edge?
That's
which
what
is-
they did in 2B2T, that giant Minecraft server, like the Anarchy Minecraft server.
Oh yeah.
People would go to the edge and it would take days and days and days and days and days.
Just like traveling by
Actually
foot.
walking.
Well, they would mine a tunnel in
Uh-huh.
the Nether, because the Nether you move faster, but
Okay.
still in the Nether it took days,
Yeah, they have
like
4
probably months. I
million
think maybe a couple
kilometers.
months, because what they did was they would take
Bro, that's
ships.
a B, bro. That's a billion.
Oh my lord, you're right. 4 billion. Unbelievable. So yeah, I feel like the true top 3 is this. Well, there you go. There it is technically an Elder Scrolls game, Carson.
But
Daggerfall.
Not one of you said, not the one he said.
Yeah. And then there's Lord of the Rings Online, 77,000 kilometers square, and then Guild Wars Nightfall. Which I don't know if that's like an online game or what.
But yeah, I love these comparison videos. I was watching some of like monsters from movies and stuff, and like and games. And
What
it
was
pretty cool.
what was the size of Arma or Daisy's?
I think it was 220 something.
Okay, so they did miss on Arma 3. Because Arma 3 is 2 separate islands,
Uh-huh.
and the bigger of now it wouldn't hold up to these top sized. It wouldn't even be in the top 5 probably, but because we wouldn't even be at this point. Yeah, so 225. So Arma 3, like I said, it's 2 different maps, and the bigger of the map, the bigger of the 2 islands is 270 kilometers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you add the other map because I believe you can actually traverse between the 2. Let me see. I'm trying to find.
I'm guessing they probably like decided to mix it up a
mean,
little bit.
There's probably games in between all of these. It's just that these are the
who's-
most popular of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minus this whole Operation Flashpoint, whatever. All right, that's it. That is a wrap for this podcast. Thank you all who decided to watch all the way through and enjoy our commentary. We will be back next week.
Oh, have a good one.
Peace.